Hello everyone, welcome to another live stream. So let me check if everything is working properly. Let me check the sound. Hello everyone. Okay, looks like it's working. Let's get my chat out of there. Sorry, I'm a little bit late, but we should be working well. Also, I can make this a bit larger. Expand it, yes, maybe a bit more. So if you guys can put it in the comments who is watching the stream, just so I know, is it any familiar names? Hey Sluggy, what's up? What is happening on this Thursday? Let me just see. Okay. Okay, so this is USD CAD. USD yen is finally going lower, so good that I closed it. Euro CAD actually pushing higher. Whoa, that's quite a move to the upside, so maybe I shouldn't have closed it prematurely. NASDAQ seems to be going lower on this market open. Gold is being a bit flat, and silver is being a bit flat as well. I did take a sort of an experimental position on Palantir. Oh, nice. So I took a sell setup on Palantir. It was yesterday, so on the 5th of November. I kind of thought that the NASDAQ was getting a bit weak. And I saw some signs that there may be a pullback. I saw some signs that maybe the AI revolution is getting a bit stale, and sort of the AI narrative is getting a bit stale. So I thought, why not try to initiate a short position on Palantir? Now this is sort of a signal, kind of not a signal, but this is exactly what Brent Donnelly is doing as well. So I'm a close follower of his, Brent Donnelly, this guy. So he has like a free weekly newsletter. He also has a daily newsletter, which is paid, which I do have. Basically, he talks about multiple trade ideas throughout the week. And sometimes the trade ideas seem really solid, so I do execute them. I also do signals in the A1 Discord. This was not a signal because this is more of an experimental position, so I wanted to keep this one to myself. Also, let me check Aussie NZD. It was another position I'm trying out. Okay, this one is just super flat. But Palantir seems to be going lower today, which is good. So let me check. Okay, we have 9 people watching. The title is, will the NASDAQ pull back? Will the NASDAQ drop? Also, let me check if everything is working properly in my IC Markets account. Come on. It is. Okay, it is. So nice drop on Palantir, definitely looking interesting. So that's good. I'm watching GP Aussie shorts. Looks good from both fundamental and technical. Elafi, hey, what's up? Solo, sup Marco, nice USD CAD trade. Also, what are your thoughts on UJ and GJ? Okay, sure. So we have Pound Aussie, UJ, GJ. I think we had some Aussie news, or sorry, Pound news today. If I check the news calendar, we must have had some yeah, okay, so we had the bank rate. The bank rate, they kept rates the same for the Bank of England, and I think it was a big shocker. I think it was a big move. Let's see. Yeah, kind of a good move to the upside. The pound gained some strength because the event was hawkish. So I know that's the reason why you all are looking for GP analysis. So let's see GBP Aussie. GBP AUD. Nice move to the upside. Personally, I'm bearish on the Aussie. Okay, so I'm bearish on the Aussie. The reason is Aussie has been getting a bit of weaker data, and Australia's economy is heavily dependent on mining. Okay, so on exporting heavy metals. Now, I think around 30% of Australia's GDP is dependent on exporting the metals. There is an indicator, miners. What is it? Is it GDX? Could be GDX. I mean, it could be, one of them is GDX, but this is a gold miner crap. What is the ticker for the miners? Anyways, I'm gonna find it in my phone. Just a second. So let's see. I know because Brent talked about this. So Brent Donnelly, 5th of November. Let's see. It is the XME. So XME is metals and mining ETF. And what can you see here on the daily chart? You can see that we are crashing lower. So a big move lower from the top on the 15th of October. I think this could very easily spill into the Aussie. So I think the Aussie could very easily start to lose value because the price is spilling, sort of, this movement is spilling into the Aussie. You have to think about the correlation. So I told you around 30 to 40% of Australia's GDP comes from mining. So if metals and mining has drastically gone down, it should bring down the GDP, okay? It should bring down the GDP. We can take a look at the Edge Finder as well, get the GDP data. Let's see. So GDP for the Aussie, it's actually positive, but this is from September. So we need the October print, we need the November print. GDP should go down. Okay, GDP should go down. And generally, the demand for the Aussie as a currency should go down as well. So I think as far as pound Aussie goes, I think we could get a bullish case. Okay, I think this could go up a bit more. I think the pound with the hawkish central bank, I'm kind of bearish on the pound as well, but currently we had a very hawkish central bank decision. So they basically said, we're not sure when rate cuts will come. It is still very uncertain, and they don't seem very likely to cut rates. We can also do Bank of England interest rate graph, so that we can get a graph. So see, they have been cutting all the way from 5.25, and now it's a pause. So lately they have started to pause with the cuts. That is hawkish. That should be a bit bullish for the underlying currency. So actually I would think the path of least resistance here could be to the upside for the pound Aussie. So that was the first one. UJ, I did have a trade on. I closed it, so it was a winning trade in the end. I closed it for around 0.95 R. Now we are starting to move lower, so we're starting to actually form the pullback. In my opinion, we were approaching the intervention level. Now it's not really about an intervention level. It's not really about a level where the Bank of Japan will just do an intervention. It is sort of the level where the Bank of Japan will start giving out signals like, we don't like the current exchange rate. We don't like where USD yen is moving. We may consider an intervention. We may consider doing this. We may consider doing that. So if you get those types of headlines, the UJ is just going to sell. So UJ will definitely sell off on an expectation of a possible intervention. So last time we had an intervention was in July of 2024. It was a massive, massive intervention. I remember this quite clearly because I took some nice sell setups on Aussie yen and on the New Zealand yen. And I think on Euro yen, basically I shorted the hell out of them, and it was best month in 2024. Absolutely best month in 2024. So in order to prevent that happening, or to prevent getting stopped out of this position with a massive candle like this with massive volatility, I closed it. And we were starting to become a bit flat. We were starting to become a little bit, you can say, a little bit corrective, kind of slowing down. So I wasn't really sure that this position was right for me. I also think the dollar is getting a bit less bullish, if I'm being honest. So I think it's time for the dollar to pull back a bit, for the DXY to pull back. We have crushed the 100K mark, but this is a big psychological level. Big psychological level. So I think it's time for a bit of a correction, for a bit of a pullback. And again, I want to protect my position. So I did exit UJ. I would say I'm a bit more flat. I'm a bit more neutral on UJ. I know Trader Nick as well. If you follow Trader Nick, he shifted his stance from being bullish on the dollar to actually being neutral on the dollar. And I want to follow the professionals. So again, I'm reading from a lot of traders. I'm closely watching a lot of traders. I'm reading analysis from a lot of traders. And most of the time, if most of them are switching their stance on something, and lately I saw a lot of traders switch from bullish dollar to more neutral dollar, well, it's usually a good decision to follow them. So that is what I'm doing. GJ, GBP, JPY. GJ, in my opinion, I'm not sure. I think it's a bit flat. We can check the top setups page, GBP, JPY. So bearish, actually getting a bearish signal. That is interesting. I am bearish on the pound, but I also I'm not sure about the yen, and we are in an uptrend. So for this currency pair, I don't like it. I personally think there is better opportunities out there other than GJ. I think USD CAD is a good position. I think, well, Euro CAD is no longer a good position in my opinion, but maybe doing something with the Aussie. For example, selling the Aussie dollar. See, I have an alert set, so maybe if Aussie dollar can break out of these lows, that could be a good sell. Of course, I don't want to sell right now because I don't want to get stuck here, but it could be a good sell. AJ as well could be maybe a good sell, right? Could be an interesting proposition. How are your free DNA challenges? I was about to play some poker, but then I saw your live. Welcome, Marco. Have a seat. Thank you, Joshua, for joining. So welcome. By the way, do you play like online poker? And which website do you use to play? Do you play just with demo money, or do you use real money? I'm interested to hear. It's only my second time here, but I love the after class vibe. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining. I actually wasn't on the A1 stream today. So I have sort of the whole stream to start from scratch for today. Usually I cover most of the things on the A1 stream, and then my stream is a bit more quiet. But today we're going to have quite a lot of things to cover. Josh, you should come to the A1 Discord. You'll love it. Yeah, if you want to join the A1 Discord, it's now at, I think, 45% off. So you can use the code MARKO. They're basically, all codes have the same discount. So I think 45% off is the most that they're going to do for the whole year. I think they do 40% on a lot of months, but 45%, I've never heard them do 45%. So if you want, check it out. I probably should if you lot are in there. How do you remember all this info from different places and create a narrative? Well, I kind of follow many different traders, and I note things down. I put things on my watch list. I put things in my Notion. So if you guys are not using Notion, it's awesome for notes in general, like writing stuff and putting things down on a piece of paper. Well, it's not paper, it's digital, but it's absolutely free and much better than Word, because with a Word document you need to open a new document each time and you need to save it again, and it's a hassle and it's a process. While with Notion, it's just like new page, and it's much faster, much more convenient, much more streamlined. So try out Notion if you need to take notes throughout the day. Sluggy says, yeah, me, Ballout, Max, Alan, Dragon, Rev, Tornier, pretty much everyone. Yeah, pretty much everyone is in there. Aussie Swiss looks good. Let me see. AOD, CHF. Aussie Swiss is looking... it's looking a bit flat in my opinion. It looks a bit flat in this area. Let me check the edge finder. Neutral reading. I would be a seller possibly. Again, I don't have a lot of data on the Swiss. I can take a look just at the raw data quickly. So I think it's it's 50-50. While I think the long-term data is not that bad. So yeah, positive GDP, unemployment. Let's see. Rising unemployment. Yeah, definitely rising unemployment. Why is that? 2.9% while we were at 2.4 in September 2024. Interesting. So that's not so great. Inflation for the Swiss is it's nothing, absolutely nothing. Let me also check GPY, Swiss yen. Okay, so the Swiss is actually gaining strength against the yen. Yeah, Aussie Swiss may not be such a bad proposition. And let me also remove the Aussie Swiss Swiss yen marker. Okay. Not bad, not bad. So you sold it on the 4 hour. Okay, nice. Okay, so looks like Joshua sold Aussie Swiss. Sluggy is watching Aussie Swiss for a breakout to the upside. I would be bearish. I think, again, Aussie pretty weak. If someone has joined now and hasn't seen it, XME, miners, metals and mining, has been just going lower and lower. So this thing is highly connected with the Aussie as a currency, because I think 30% of Australia's GDP is from metals and mining. They do a lot of export. So if the price of mining, if the price of metals, if the price of that industry is going down, it should create less demand for the Aussie. Because to buy stuff from Australia, you need the Aussie dollar. So less demand, price goes lower. Yeah, Aussie Swiss, not a bad idea. Actually, not a bad idea. Let me see if I can put an alert here, because we still seem like we're in a range. I would say technical analysis still seems a bit flat. Right? Yeah. Technical analysis still looks a bit flat, so I would like to see a breakout of that lower level. Then I would be a bit more interested. One thing I can show you is an experimental trade I'm doing with the influence from Brent Donnelly. I'm selling the Aussie NZD. So this was not a signal in A1. I don't have full confidence in this trade, so this is more of an experimental trade. So I don't want to put it as a signal, but I am in this on my small risk. I'm in this on my personal account. You know what? If I like get some more confidence, I may put it as a signal in A1. But the thinking is technical analysis. If you go to the weekly, by the way, this is still time to enter this position. Of course, not financial advice, but if you want to take a stab at it, you still can. So massive resistance on the weekly. Massive resistance. And this should create a bit of a bounce. This definitely should create a bit of a bounce, just as far as technical analysis goes. And then we must consider that the miners, the metals, are losing value, and the Aussie should be dragged lower sooner or later. So you have to think about the correlation, and you have to consider that the Aussie is heavily correlated with the metals market and exporting from Australia. Again, not a long-term position because I'm just anticipating a bounce from that massive resistance level with a tight stop loss. So stop loss is 117 pips. And if it doesn't work, I'm probably going to close it in like maybe 1 or 2 weeks. So the conclusion is that this is definitely not a long-term position. Let me also check the spreads. Or not the spreads, the swaps. I haven't checked the swaps. Let's see. UD, NZD. So I'm paying negative swaps. Okay. I can also check it on my broker if I'm being honest. So I'll tell you right now how much I'm paying for swaps on my IC markets. Let me see. AUD NZD. Swap short is minus 5.3 euros per one lot position. It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, Euro GBP, for example, is if you long Euro GBP, it's minus 7.4 euros. And again, it's a problem if you hold a position for 1 to 2 months. So swaps are a massive problem if you hold a position for 1 to 2 months. If you hold a position for 1 to 2 weeks, I would say it's minimal. I would say it's negligible. Is that a word, negligible, or is the word something different? You can ignore it. You can ignore swaps if you hold for just a few days. So yeah, in this position, and we shall see what happens. I play on a text-based game that has poker built in. Trading is enough. Trading is enough poker when it comes to real cash. Okay, I can definitely understand where you're coming from. Maybe I'll play once I'm more stable. Well, I think it's much better to put money in trading if that's your main thing. So again, if poker is your main thing, then put money into poker. If trading is your main thing, I think it's best to put money into what is your true passion and where you have the most expertise and where you have the biggest edge, right? So for example, no matter which industry you're in, are you in construction? Are you in the automotive industry? Are you in the medical industry? The best thing to focus on is your main passion, to put 100% effort into your main passion, because that is what's going to bring you the most results. So if you kind of dabble into 2, 3, 4 things, but never really devote yourself to one thing, you're going to have mixed results. That's what I found. So, and that kind of goes contrary to what people say in real life, because advice from most people is like you should know a little bit about everything. So you should have some general knowledge about every single topic. Well, that's not going to bring you much success, because you'll have general knowledge, but you won't have enough knowledge to sort of create an edge for yourself to make money, right? Your edge is just going to be very, very small. The key in life, the key in everything that you do is you need to know something that 95% of other people don't know. Otherwise, why would the money come to you? And again, you cannot print money. The only ones who can print money is the central bank. So only the central bank can print money. The money that we are, let's say, working for in trading, it's already there. It already exists. So the key is to transfer that money from unsuccessful traders, unsuccessful investors, to successful traders, successful investors. So it's a zero-sum game. And for you to make money, someone needs to lose money. That's just how it is. And if you're a broker, well, then the game is a bit different than if you have watched The Wolf of Wall Street. The main goal of a broker is to take the client's money and put it in your pocket, right? Via commission. That's the famous scene with Matthew McConaughey and Leonardo DiCaprio when they're having lunch at some fancy restaurant. My favorite scene, by the way. Okay, so let's see. Aussie Swiss, Aussie Swiss, Aussie Swiss. So you guys really like Aussie Swiss. Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, it's an interesting pair. Swiss is kind of stronger than the Aussie. I would agree with that. So I just don't like the technicals behind it. I think the technical analysis for Aussie Swiss is a bit flat, is a bit stale. It hasn't really broken out anywhere significant. So to actually take a position, if we do break this level, I think this could work. So let's say something like this happens. We break the level, we retest, I get in, defined risk, target the bottom. I think that's a good proposition. That could work. High probability, especially with the current narrative that the Aussie short term, the Aussie should lose value. So short term, the Aussie should lose value. Long term, I'm not so sure. So I would not bet that this thing just goes down like this. But I think there is a high possibility, high probability that we actually hit this support level. I think that that could happen. So yeah, I forgot to mention, because the whole title of this stream is what is happening with the NASDAQ, what is happening with the S&P, why are they pulling back? Is there going to be a massive pullback? Is there going to be a crash? So we shall see what will happen. One thing I did want to mention is, if you have been looking online and you have been closely watching the artificial intelligence story. So artificial intelligence was the main driver, absolute main driver of this massive explosion. Absolute main driver of CapEx spending, right? And nowadays, or in the recent weeks, in the recent days, people are starting to wonder, will the investment into AI actually pay off? So will all the spending actually pay off? Will they be able to cover their expenses with the revenue that is coming in 26, 27, 28, 29? Well, if you look at Meta, Facebook, Instagram, all of these other cancerous websites, they had an earnings call somewhere in July. They had an earnings call and they announced massive CapEx spending. At that time, it was considered a bullish reaction. So the market actually went up, because in July, if you were a US company and you mentioned artificial intelligence, you mentioned spending a lot of money on AI, it seemed like a massive bullish signal. Well, recently they also had an sort of a conference call and they again mentioned massive CapEx spending. They mentioned massive spending on artificial intelligence, on data centers, blah, blah, blah. And the market didn't like it at all. So the market actually reacted negative to the news. The market actually sold off on this news. So that's a shift in the narrative, which we as traders, we have to follow. So when you look at the specific market, you always have to ask yourself, what is the current narrative? And how is the current narrative changing? How is it progressing? Well, the narrative was AI is going to save us all. AI is going to be awesome. Everyone is going to make money. Companies are going to improve their profit margins by 5x. And it's going to be this amazing thing. The narrative has flipped to maybe AI spending has gone a bit too far. Maybe, maybe there is a bubble. Right? Maybe there is a bit of a bubble. So that's bearish. That is definitely bearish. If you look at Oracle Corporation, I think in September they announced a massive partnership with OpenAI. I think they did that. Let's see. Why did the Oracle price jump with a gap in 10th of September. On 10th of September this year. Let's see. No, crap. Yeah, okay, on September 10, massive cloud revenue, AI infrastructure momentum. Yeah, so Oracle's pivot toward AI optimized cloud services, including database tools and data centers. So basically, this was massive spending into AI. And what did we do? We did an absolute round trip back to the beginning. So the markets didn't like it at all. Yes, initially they loved it. So initially there was an explosion in the price. Initially we like gapped up by a massive amount. Let me see in percentage terms. Like 30%. And now we did a round trip back at the beginning. So if you were prepared, you could have sold this thing somewhere here and you would make some pretty decent gains. I unfortunately was not closely watching this, but this is a very bearish sign. So this is also a sign that the market, investors, hedge fund managers, bankers, pension fund managers, they're starting to see the cracks. They're starting to see the cracks. They're starting to doubt the AI spending. Joshua says, is my internet or is the stream lagging? Well, you can let me know in the comments if the stream is lagging. It shouldn't be lagging. I can see it in my... I can see it in my, dashboard, in my YouTube dashboard that it looks okay. So if you guys can put it in the chat. Is the connection okay? Okay, so it looks like it's Joshua's internet. Joshua, maybe I can send you a DNA code to fix your internet. Or maybe if you had better internet, you would catch the DNA code. Just kidding. So that was just a joke. Conclusion. Currently, I'm a bit bearish on the NASDAQ. I think it's gonna go lower. I think it can be a bit lower. I'm not looking to buy here. I was talking about how I'm looking to buy. Looking for pullbacks, looking for discounts, looking for cheaper levels. Well, I did some more research and it seems to me that this level is not so good to buy. So this level is not so great. I actually took an experimental position, just small risk, on my personal account on Palantir. So yeah, just targeting sort of this bottom. I took it yesterday, kind of tight stop loss, positive reward to risk, and the target is this bottom. I think around 172, that's the level. So far so good, so we just crashed lower. Palantir, I don't know what the hell Palantir does. I'm not sure anyone knows what Palantir does. Is it Saylor's company? Michael Saylor company. Oh no, it's MicroStrategy. Okay, so the guy that buys Bitcoin is running MicroStrategy. Palantir, I don't know what the hell they're doing. If someone knows, please let me know in the comments. I just know that they are part of this massive AI spending. And from my research, they seemed good to try an experimental sell yesterday. Maybe even before. I kind of was too late to the party. I probably should have entered at the beginning of the week, maybe. Yeah, basically on Monday, when we sort of capitulated right there. Palantir is the evil corporation. Yeah, I heard that they are kind of evil. I just don't know what the hell they do. I don't think anyone knows what they're doing. Sluggy says, Marco, what are the rules I should keep in mind while doing a DNA challenge? Well, you should mind the risk management, I would say. And I think you're doing the one-step challenge because that's what you won in the A1 trading giveaway. So I would be careful about the risk management. I'm doing a challenge, 50K 2-phase, and I'm doing 1% risk per trade. And that's totally good. So 1% per trade for the challenge phase. And then for the funded stage, I'm probably gonna drop it down to maybe 0.5, maybe, okay? So my main advice is, of course, take your time. There's no time limit. Don't force trades, just stick to your plan. And risk more than you would on your personal. So maybe risk a bit more than on your personal, but don't risk too much. You need to find a sweet spot. I would say the best risk is from 1 to 2% on a funded challenge, from 1 to 2% per trade. And also keep in mind that it can take you maybe 1 year to pass. It can maybe take even longer, because usually realistic results for us traders, if we can do 20 to 30% per year, that's absolutely amazing. I think Nick is up 33 or 35% for this year. I'm definitely nowhere close to his results. I've had kind of, I'm positive, but it's like 3, 4, 5% for this year. Actually, my investments are doing great, but my trading results this year haven't been so well. I kind of screwed up at the beginning. In Q1, I had some losses, which I had to climb out of, which I did manage to do, but now I have to pay the price. So you have to know that we can do maybe 20, 30% per year. And for the 2 phase, it's 10% for phase 1. And then it's 5% for phase 2. So you could spend the whole year doing the challenge. It can definitely happen. Whoop. How can I do? Okay. Just keep it steady. Don't rush it. Follow the plan. That's about it. Marco, while you're experimenting with unconventional trades, you should try out cent accounts. Well, I don't have that much capital to allocate to new accounts, if I'm being honest. I kind of want to keep most of my capital in my IC markets, and then anything I have to spare, I just put into the S&P or I put into Bitcoin. So I kind of don't want to take 1,000 euros out of it and put it in a cent account, because I just don't think it's the smartest thing. I think I can have more returns if I just keep on piling into the S&P and Bitcoin, and then also grow my main account, IC Markets account, on the side. And also, if I want to do experimenting, I have prop firm accounts as well. So my main experimenting is done on my prop accounts most of the time. If I have something new I want to try out or some new position I want to do, I usually do it on my prop firm accounts because they're disposable. So, okay, USD CAD is actually crushing higher. This is one of the best trades I've had in 2025, I think. With NJ, I think New Zealand yen was an awesome trade, and gold was great as well. Okay, this is not the best trade I've had. But USD CAD, my absolute favorite thing to trade. Let me just not lock these. Let me rearrange them a bit. Like so. And then we can log them. So yeah, took a winner 1.27. I also took a loss there. Okay, so I took a loss on the 31st of July. Interesting. So took a loss, took plus 1.27 loss, and now running profit. So if I make the calculation, was this 1.27 and this is running 1.6. So 1.27 plus 1.6. Net, I'm up 0.87 on USD CAD for this year. But I think this can go up more. This is my favorite currency pair, USD CAD. As you can see, I've been trying to get in. I've been trying to take advantage of it, but sometimes I'm in too early and sometimes I take profits too soon. So maybe the game plan is to keep this one running and not close it prematurely. The game plan is, if we do get a higher low or a swing low form, I'm just gonna keep moving my stop loss below the swing lows. So that is my game plan. Maybe I can squeeze out like 2, 3, or like 4R I think 3R, I would be super happy with 3R. If I can do 4R, that would be absolutely amazing. But 2R, 3R, I would be super happy. That would be great. Okay. So stream is fine. That is good to hear. What's the spread roll on minimum 3 days? I'm up 7% since last 2 months. Awesome. Nice. Congratulations. So Sluggy, yeah, I remember you were up, I think 5 or 6% 1 or 2 weeks ago. So now you're up. Now you're up 7%, which is amazing. So you're close to actually passing the challenge. Let me see how I'm doing. So if I open up my trade locker, I am, oh no. Okay, I had a loss on the S&P and I had a small winner on euro dollar. This is, by the way, ChatGPT trade signals, which I'm testing. My current equity is 52,198. Okay, so 52,198 is the current equity. So I'm up 2.2%. Still okay. Still, actually, no, it's more than 2.2%. It's around 5%. Yeah, around 5% is what are my results on the challenge. So just 3% more and you'll be able to pass phase 1. Just keep on executing, keep on trucking, and then it's phase 2 if you're doing the 2 phase. Do you know Bernd Skorupinski? He called out the Dow dump and some other predictions, and it's been on time every time he did it. I have heard about Bernd Skorupinski, but in my opinion, he's a scammer. If you want to watch an interesting video, let me try to grab an interesting video I have. It's from that guy, Marcus Adrian. Let's see. Marcus Adrian. Super funny, super funny.
In today's video, we're putting 2 of the...
Okay. Let me try to bring it into here. Can you see it? Yeah, so this guy. And okay, I haven't seen this video, but this one, you need to watch it. This one and this one. So watch these 2 videos. That Bernd guy is basically a super shady scammer. Okay, super shady scammer. He just pretends to know how to trade. I know he made it top of the leaderboard on FTMO, but he must have bought like 200 accounts. That's what the scammers do. So they buy 200 accounts. They pass maybe 20% of them, 30% of them just by blindly buying and selling. And then they get some massive payouts. But net, they are kind of maybe break even, maybe even a bit negative. Now, why it works for them is because he can mention that he has massive payouts. And then he gets massive revenue from selling a course. So that's how it's done. That's the textbook scammer approach. So find a prop firm, buy 100 accounts, blindly buy, blindly sell, get lucky on like 10 or 20% of the accounts, then try to get some payouts, be break even or let's say net negative, but then use the certificates, use the payouts for marketing. And it's massive money. It's a massive sum of money. So I don't believe anything that Bernd guy says. Totally, Marco, you've been spot on with USD CAD. Thank you very much. It's probabilities. So I had a couple of other calls that haven't been so great. But I've also had a couple of them that were pretty good. 50-50, I would say. I would say, yeah, maybe like I have a win rate of 45%. That's at least what I've seen in my trading journal. Now, what is the most important part is keeping winners bigger than your losses. So 50% win rate, I would say, is great. It is actually in the upper side for most traders. I think most traders cannot achieve more than 40-50%. So the key is when you win more than you lose. And the maths is there. The calculations are there. Have you heard of Robert Kiyosaki? Yes. So it's this guy, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he always calls the top. Kiyosaki calling the top. Let's see. Saki. Burma Bear. Yeah, this is it. Okay, this is it. See? So, this guy is always calling the top. See, economic crash, no crash. Cash in on the crash, no crash. Crash, no crash. And it goes on and on and on. Biggest crash. Well, actually, there's a bit of a correction, but then nothing. And then also crash right here at the start of a massive uptrend. Crash right here, explosion. And he again is calling, looks like, oh no, sorry, this was from 2022. So each time Robert calls for a market crash, you should be buying because he's an awesome contrarian signal. And he obviously is just selling books. So that's his main thing. I don't think he makes any money from investing because his account would be zero right now if he actually went short every time he mentioned a stock market crash. So it's all about marketing. It's all about selling books. It's all about selling whatever he's selling. It's definitely not about sound financial advice, sound investment advice. But he's awesome at marketing. His book is super interesting to read, and he definitely has a lot of knowledge in how to market himself and his products. Charts, hey, what's up? The neck tattoo is a dead giveaway. Who has a neck tattoo? Is it the YouTuber guy or is it Bernd Skorpinski? So yeah, the neck tattoo. The moment you see a neck tattoo, it's like scammer alert. So continuing with the market analysis, because we've spent a lot of time. I mean, it's super fun, but we have to do charts as well. So USD CAD, I told you my game plan. I'm waiting to see if this thing wants to go higher, and then I'm looking to trail my position. USD Yen, I told you I no longer like, so I'm out of that trade. Euro CAD, I unfortunately closed right there for a loss. So Euro CAD ended up being a loss. In hindsight, I should have waited to exit for break even because it looks like I sold right at support, which is not the best scenario, but that is hindsight. We also could have done this, and I just didn't want to pay any more swaps, so I kept paying negative swaps for this position. We had very little movement. We had movement right there, but it could not commit. So the price action was, in my opinion, just telling me, we're done, we're exhausted, the price is not working well, we're flat, we're range bound, just cut your losses and look for something else. So my stop loss was also massive on this one. This was not a good trade. Looking back at it, the stop loss was far too big. 332 pips. Too big stop loss. Especially with negative swaps. So if you check the edge finder, and you go to the carry trade scanner, you type in Euro CAD, you're gonna see it's negative swaps. And the divergence, it's not a big divergence, but you still have to pay to be in the position if you're a buyer. So not my best trade in 2025. One of my worst trades, if I'm being honest. So the NASDAQ, I kind of already told you what I'm looking at. So I'm expecting more of a correction on the NASDAQ. I'm not looking to buy. Contrary to what I've been saying for the last few weeks, that I'm just looking for a pullback to get in. Well, the fundamental narrative has switched a little bit, changed a little bit, and now I'm waiting to see what will happen. I'm waiting to see how the AI story will develop, and then I'll consider possibly a buy setup. What I'm definitely watching is if we drop more, and I'll go in as an investment. So for investment purposes, I'm definitely considering buying some NASDAQ, especially if we heavily drop. So if we go down by like, I don't know, maybe 10% more, 15% more, I will definitely be interested in looking for buy setups on the NAS. So Roberto says, hi Marco, I took the USD CAD but took profits on the last pullback. Covered some losses on the DNA account. Well, that's totally fine. I mean, taking profits here is not a bad decision, I would say. It looks kind of overextended. It's far away from the 20 MA. I'm kind of expecting some dollar weakness in the short term. I think, again, it's overextended. I think there has been massive buying. I'm not sure that this is sustained. So you can always re-enter if we pull back a bit, right? I personally am holding this position because I still think it's fundamentally solid. I still think fundamentally this is a great position. So I think into the year's end, we could go even higher. And maybe even in 2026. It's positive swaps as well, which is great. So I'm getting paid. Oh, no, this is the cat. I'm actually being paid for holding the position. See, interest rate divergence, carry direction is buy. So I get extra income as well, which is always welcomed. Thoughts on silver? Sure, we'll do silver. Boys and girls, I need to dip out. See y'all on tomorrow on next channel. Yeah, Joshua, thank you very much for joining. See you tomorrow. I will be live streaming tomorrow on Trader Nick. The exact time is here. So tomorrow is Friday. NFP, but it's not NFP because it's the US government shutdown is still in place, but I'll be streaming at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can catch me tomorrow. See you, and thank you very much for joining. Okay. Don't over leverage, of course, don't over leverage. Gold and silver. So I also told you that I'm looking to buy gold and buy silver on pullbacks, right? I did say that, and I kept saying that for 4 to 5 weeks. The pullback happened. We finally got a pullback. Now the problem is the fundamentals and kind of the edge finder is not showing me a bullish reading. So if we look at gold, it's neutral. If we look at silver, neutral as well, and it looks flat. So I actually like the current price level. I would just like to get an extra confluence to be a buyer. Also, one more thing, Trader Nick has a sell trade on gold. So Nick is actually selling gold, right? He's actually selling gold. One thing I've learned, if a professional trader has an opinion on something and you are not sure about your opinion, for example, I'm a bit bullish, but he's actually selling. So I'm going to take his opinion as an extra confluence not to buy. So if I was 100% certain in buying gold at this level, I would do it. But I don't have a high level of certainty. So him being short is a sign for me to be more patient, is a sign for me to wait. I also, as I mentioned, follow Brent Donnelly. This guy, I follow his newsletters, and he's also kind of bearish on gold and silver. So if the big guys, if the experienced traders are not buying, instead they are selling, I am going to be more patient. Same thing on silver. So I have the absolutely same thing on silver, all right? So yeah, Looking at some levels, silver also looks okay. Silver also looks good. I like the level. I think we're getting a nice discount from the top, like 12%, 12% pullback, 12% discount. I think that is looking fine. I just would like to get a bullish reading here. So Sluggy says it is the longest shutdown ever. As far as the shutdown goes, let me see. When did it start? When did the US government shutdown start? In 5, and how many days has it been so far? Uh, 36 days. That is a record. That is a record. So look at the last 10 years. Is this the longest shutdown so far? I think the longest one was like 35 days. Yeah. So this is the longest shutdown. We had 35 days in 2018 when Trump was first president, and now it's been 36. Interesting, very interesting. So this is kind of uncharted territory. If you guys don't know, a shutdown means no US data. We were supposed to get NFP today, but you can see US government data may be impacted by the shutdown. Tentative events are subject to delay, revision, or cancellation. Not to get too political, but it seems New York City has elected an idiot for a mayor. I haven't been watching that situation closely. I did hear it's a new guy, some new mayor, but I don't know anything about him. Is it really important for the markets? Absolutely not. It doesn't matter for the markets what or who the new mayor is. So that's about it for my watch list. I've walked through most of these instruments. S&P, I have the same opinion as on the NASDAQ, so I'm bearish. US 30, same thing. Again, Russell, yeah. The DAX just looks horrible. So the DAX, I was looking for a breakout higher. I was looking for a breakout out of this resistance level, but we just did not get it. I already took 2 losses on this thing. Right? So I took 2 losses. And yeah. I just don't like this. Looks super flat, looks super corrective. So I'm not looking to do anything on the DAX. I kind of fell for the story of, oh, the dollar is weakening, everything is going into the euro, Germany is going to do massive spending, or the European Union is going to do massive spending on defense. So Rheinmetall, this is a German defense stock, had an explosion in 2025, but the DAX really did not perform well. I mean, we had an explosion here, but that was about it. So the DAX is still super boring, super unimportant. And again, the main thing is the NASDAQ. As always, I kind of fell for the DAX story. I was a bit stupid, if I'm being honest, because it's the DAX. It's super shit. It's super boring. Nikkei had a massive explosion. Nikkei actually looked super interesting. Out of all of the... it moved alongside of the NASDAQ. It even moved more. I think from this level, it's up 36%. So Nikkei, super bullish. I'm not looking to do anything, if I'm being honest. The new prime minister should be bullish for the stock market because she's apparently dovish. So she would prefer lower interest rates. I personally don't have a view. I don't have an edge on the Nikkei, if I'm being honest. Platinum, copper. So platinum looking great actually, looks super bullish. Copper is all over the place. Copper, I don't have a trading edge. Crypto, that is the final thing I wanted to cover for today. So yeah, as far as crypto goes, crypto, in my opinion, looks pretty bearish, right? Let me show you one cool thing that you can do. So if you want to overlay charts, this is the NASDAQ. We're going to hide my indicators. You go here, plus, you click Bitcoin, and you click New Price Scale. See? And now, if we look at it on the, I think it's the weekly? No, the daily. We will see something pretty interesting. So if we expand this a bit more, maybe even a bit more, what you can see is Bitcoin can be a kind of an indicator for a drop in the NASDAQ. So look what happened on the 30th of January. Bitcoin started dropping, NASDAQ started dropping on the 19th of February. Look what happened now. Bitcoin started dropping on the 6th of October and the NASDAQ started dropping on the 30th of October. So Bitcoin could possibly be used as a leading indicator for the NASDAQ, because Bitcoin is the most risk-on thing you can find, like, except some shit coins. But Bitcoin, super, super risky. When people have extra money, they buy Bitcoin. When people are kind of getting more scared, more afraid, they sell Bitcoin. So it already happened once, right there. Did it happen before? I'm not sure. It could be tested, but I can't do it now on the stream because it's a bit tricky. But we got another signal. So we got another signal on the 6th of October. Bitcoin started selling off. NASDAQ only started selling off now on the 31st. So I thought that was pretty interesting to cover. So let's delete this, bring back the indicators. You can do this research very, very easily. Just click on the plus button and you can compare stuff. So I'm bearish on Bitcoin. If you also look at the halving cycle, if you're in the A1 Discord or in the Zentum Trading Discord, which by the way you can join for free. So if you go to Zentum Trading, you click here, free Discord, you fill this out, join Discord, you can join me for free, Griffin me for free, and you can get free analysis. So what I wanted to say, yeah, halving cycle. If you look at the halving cycle for crypto, we are now in the bearish part of the halving cycle. So that's another confluence for me not to buy Bitcoin, not to trade Bitcoin at these levels. I think this can go down a bit more. It has already broken out of this support, so I think we could see some more bearish price action. Ethereum looks bearish as well. Big red candles makes sense because this whole story was hyped. So this was all hype. This was all companies trying to copy Michael Saylor, trying to copy MicroStrategy. How is MicroStrategy doing? MicroStrategy. Okay, pretty bearish actually. Not doing so well. Anyways, Ethereum, I'm bearish. I think this whole explosion was pretty hyped up, pretty fake. So I think the correction will be pretty big. Usually with a move up that has no real value behind it, no real fundamental reason behind it, usually the drop can be pretty large as well. So that's my stance on crypto. I'm bearish. If you guys have any last minute questions, let me know in the comments because I will be wrapping up the stream. So Sluggy says, Marco, have you heard about LSEG data source Refinitiv workspace? No, what is that? That sounds interesting. Let me see. LSEG data source. Haven't heard about it. Is it like Financial Juice? Is it like this? Financial Juice? Okay, we have something on November 6th. Actually, Fed's hammock. It's not obvious that the US central bank should cut interest rates again given inflation. Interesting. This is a hawkish comment. Okay, interesting stuff. Oh, so it's similar to Financial Juice. I'm gonna check it out. Thank you very much for mentioning it, because I'm looking at possibly an alternative to Financial Juice, or maybe to buy it. So go elite on Financial Juice. I think that could be interesting. Okay, so Financial Juice takes data from LSEG. Interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you very much. I'm always looking to get some news from somewhere, because I wanted to get the Bloomberg terminal. It costs $25,000. So $25,000 for 1 year. That's absolutely not gonna happen. So I'm looking at alternatives. Financial Juice is great. I'm actually looking at their elite option. That would be about it. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for the comments. Thank you, Sluggy. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you. Who do we have? We have a couple more other people. Elafi. So yeah, everyone that was commenting, thanks for joining. My favorite thing is USD CAD to buy. NASDAQ, I'm bearish. And for the metals, I like these price levels, but I'm looking for a confirmation on the edge finders. So good luck in the markets. We have a news blackout. So the markets could be a bit quiet until this resolves, right? Stay safe and see you later. I will stream, by the way, I'll stream next week. If you want to get an update of when I will be streaming, most of the time I stream on Thursdays at 4 p.m. London time. But you can follow me on my Instagram, which is at Marcos Trading Journey, and I post all of the updates on my Instagram. The link is also in the description of the stream. So thank you very much. See you. See you, Alafi. Goodbye. Or Sluggy. Goodbye.